things that is unique about Bobby in the Kennedy family, except I would say he's more like his dad than any of the other Kennedys, because, people think of Robert F. Kennedy Sr. and they think of the great liberal, but he really had a conservative streak in him. He was more like his father, Joe Kennedy, in a lot of his beliefs. He was much more a free market guy. In so many ways, he was a law and order guy when he was attorney general. And before that, um, you know, Bobby Kennedy Sr. had some very conservative values too. And I think those were passed on. You see that more in RFK Jr. than you do in his siblings. They tend to be more, straight down the line Democratic Party. They toe the party line, but he's always had that conservative streak. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but he was quite the admirer of Barry Goldwater. And in 2006 or 2007, there was a reissue of Goldwater's classic book, The Conscience of a Conservative. And Bobby Kennedy Jr. wrote the afterword to that book, which is quite good, where he just expressed his admiration for a lot of Goldwater's qualities. And in fact, I wanted to jump over to Dave Stoller here, because I know that he was on Team DeSantis. I don't know if he's on Team Kennedy yet or still trying to make up his mind, but
I'm definitely on Team Kennedy. I mean, him and Ron were always.
He's all in, folks. He's all in. Let's go. Welcome.
Yay!
Yeah, I mean, they were always.
Welcome to the coalition, my friend.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, those two were always, pretty much even. I was trying to help Ron get out of the Republican primary, but it just wasn't going to happen. No, I'm happy to be here. I'm out sharing a lot of content. I'm trying to talk to Republicans. I've voted Republican for quite a while, but I've always been impressed with Bobby Kennedy. I've been in the health freedom movement. I've spoken to him once back in 2014. Very impressive guy. I'm trying to convince more conservative-minded people that he's not just a protest vote. Some are moving over, I would say maybe 25%. But there's a lot of people that are kicking the tires, So I want to keep working on that. If you guys had I've got a couple, there's a couple of videos I'm sharing, one on the Second Amendment, one that was just put out recently. I found a video on his environmental policies, and I really like his idea of regenerative agriculture and kind of the anti-Monsanto, anti-GMO platform, which you see a lot in Europe. And, I think he appeals to, a lot of people. And as long as people just aren't so, locked into this left-right divide, which I think is really stupid even today. If we could just convince, them to do that, because I was also, I voted very enthusiastically the last two election cycles for Donald Trump. And it's just, I think a lot of people like me have just found that it's too much. It's just too toxic. It's like it's turning into a bad movie. And I've noticed even some influencers kind of around DeSantis sphere are starting to really, really kick the tires. So I don't know, Lori, you're really good. You really explain things well, and I think you brought up some stuff about Kennedy that I didn't even know. I'd like to maybe, if possible, even get you into a couple of these DeSantis spaces, because or maybe I'll just take what you say and kind of go in there, and because like I said, I think there's movement, but there should be a lot more movement. So
286 days, Greg, or Dave, sorry. We got 286 days to
I'm going to get involved. I'm in Colorado. I'm going to get involved. I'll go get some signatures. We'll get them on the ballot. We can't start till May. But I've always respected him tremendously. So yeah, let's get it done.
Oh man, I think that's exciting. Like knowing, like, okay, we can't start till May. That means, like, come May, man, Colorado, that's going to be just a buzzing place with signature collection. And same with New York. We've got like 45 days to get 75,000 signatures in New York. Like, let's go! Like,
Yeah.
totally. Like, our teams are so fired up and so ready there. Like, oh man.
Well,
Like,
also, if you guys could kind of tell me how you see the state of the campaign right now, because I think there's movement. I'm just hoping, he can get into debates. I heard he's in the debates, but I haven't heard formally. I think he could make a good case there. I'd like to see him
when are the debates generally?
uh, late summer, early fall.
Yeah, so it's like we're talking
Yeah, it usually
August.
starts in September.
I think the goal has to be, to try to get him in the upper 20s, because if you can get him there, if you can get him within striking distance, then I think a bigger group of people will take the plunge, right? And not see it as just a protest vote. So, we
Well,
do
if
what
we
we can
can
do.
pull that off, that'll be the first time since 1992 that an independent candidate has been on the debate stage.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it
Well,
happens.
I think it's going to happen. I mean, we've got like we've like just based on the current trajectory, like it's I think the polls are going to be outstanding by that time, and the sentiment and the movement will be absolutely a buzz. So long as there isn't catastrophe. Um, I think we'll be in good position. We never know, like what tricks are going to be pulled, but I look at this from like if we can, if like we have to, like, to win, we can't win small. Like the system's too corrupt to like win small. Like if it's anywhere close, if it's just 1,000,000 votes that's needed to swap it, like look, like whether you believe it or not, they've probably done that. They may have done that in the last election, may have done that in the one before, maybe one before that too. So it's like we really need to have a massive populace coming together, unity ticket here. And like
Yeah, I would agree.
270 isn't even the number. My personal the best possible outcome is 538, and that's every friggin' state. And like get all of them, and like just send those two parties packing. And over the next 286 days, we see the formation of the We the People Party. Five have commenced. A sixth state, the Texas Independent Party in Texas. And there's the opportunity for further growth of a coalition of independents, as well as like you just look at the talent involved within this movement, and like the intelligence and the collective intelligence. The open source community is huge. There's so much drive for that, like the Assange, the Snowden kind of talk, the Ross Ulbricht talk, a lot of other like people who have faced criminal injustice, and the tribes around them who have been fighting, who have been seeking them. If there's a real clarion call for justice around these issues, and for reevaluating and opening the books on these cases, like the conditions are all here for a real transformation. And part of this is the vulnerability of not knowing what's going to happen, but it's like, let's just do our best, no matter what. Like, none of us
That's
know
the fun part, is not
exactly.
knowing what's going to happen next. That's why we do it. This is fun.
So
I do want to invite anybody who's listening right now who'd like to speak, send in a speaker's request. If you'd like to join the panel, we got room for a few more. And I want to go to Dylan Kent next. Dylan, you've had your hand up for a while. Good evening.
Oh my goodness! Good evening, Lori. How's everybody doing tonight? Hey Jay, how's it going? Hey Holden, how you doing? Kyle, good to see you guys. Oh my God, I just came back from having dinner with my mom and my stepdad, and then I see this, and I just lost it. I couldn't believe it, and I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. I've had a really crap day today. It just has not been the best. this is the way that I want to end my day, is seeing our candidate not only on the ballot in just one, but two states now, two states, New Hampshire and Hawaii. And to be perfectly honest with you, let's give a hand for New Hampshire and Hawaii as the second and third states for our 50 state ballot access right there. Worked really hard. So proud of those guys. Yeah, and I've just been ever since college started up for me again. I've been off of X for a few days, but I'm gonna be, as soon as that deadline opens up here in Texas, I'm gonna be registering as many people to the Texas Independent Party. Jay, I know that obviously you are from Texas yourself, although you're a little bit farther north of me. But don't worry, we're going to be working together with everybody else down here in the Lone Star State to hopefully get our candidate on the ballot soon. And I honestly think we will. But yeah, this is really great news tonight. I really, really needed to see this, and it just really reminded me why I'm a part of this campaign, because I'm not really doing this for myself. I'm doing this for my mom. Um, my mom was a teacher for about 8 years for second graders, and last year she left teaching because, unfortunately, it's just here in Texas, it's very difficult to be a teacher. And as one who wants to be a high school American history teacher myself one day, um, really the only candidate who's talked about teachers that I could find has been Bobby. In fact, I actually asked a question about 2 weeks ago on one of the national Zoom meeting about what Bobby's plan was for teachers. Now, I don't believe there's an exact plan yet, but I believe he said about how he wants to get teachers into houses more easily, and that has really appealed to my mom. She's really been pretty active and very supportive of me with this campaign. Hopefully, y'all will get to meet her one day, because that's just, she's part of the reason why I'm doing it. But anyways, I'm really interested in seeing what other people have to say. But yeah, thanks a lot for letting me speak, Lori.
Man, your energy is just so contagious. You have such great energy, Dylan. Thanks for joining the space. I can just feel that excitement, can't you? There's a lot of excitement in the air tonight. I know that, some people might have had a crappy day, so I hope this is good news. When this popped up on your Twitter feed tonight, if you support Robert Kennedy, or just you support democracy, even if you don't plan on voting for Kennedy, or you're still checking him out, haven't made up your mind yet, when you see that this campaign is serious and that we've got all of our wheels on the ground here and we're kicking ass in the polls and we're getting on ballots, and this isn't a vanity campaign. He's not doing this for his health. He's not doing this. He doesn't have to do this. Bobby could kick back and live the good life. He just turned 70. If he wanted to enjoy the rest of his life with his beautiful wife and family, who could blame him, right? But he's stepping up. He's stepping up for his country, and he is literally putting his life on the line for his country. And of course, we pray for his safety every single day. And I see that Robin finally made it. I wanted to invite Robin up to the stage because she was at the volunteer meeting tonight and probably had some news for us. Any updates for us? Anything we haven't covered?
I don't know. I just got in here. Had to do my grocery shopping afterwards. So I was in the store. So I don't know. I didn't know you were running a space tonight. So this is cool. Yeah, it was a great meeting. Kyle was great. You were just so enthusiastic there, Kyle. I love it. And just cheering us all on. Amaryllis was amazing. I love having the meetings with Amaryllis. She was just fantastic and very, very open to listening and answering all the questions. She stayed there for 2 hours, and it was amazing. So I feel really, really grounded in the campaign right now. I feel really excited. We are on a momentum or a movement. The movement is moving, and I just can hardly wait to see those states on that map turn purple, deep purple again, so we can, show them again to everybody. And I'm excited. I got to talk to Amaryllis, and my mom signed for We the People. I think I shared that a few days ago. My mom changed her all of her life, Democratic status, to we the people in California. Yeah. So that was exciting. That happened a few days ago. And so I told her tonight about the meeting and, and everything. She's all excited. She's talking to her people too. And so we just need to keep talking to people and talking about Kennedy. And it's just flowing. It's amazing. So thank you, Lori, for having the space. And thank you, Kyle, for being here and holding you. Everybody here is so amazing. So I'm just excited, you guys. Let's go.
Let's go, let's go, let's go. Holden, can you take over the hosting duties for a moment? I've got to get my cats indoors. It's starting to rain.
Absolutely. Get your
I'll be right
cats,
back.
Lori. Yeah, I think it's starting to set in. It feels like it's starting to set in a little bit today. With the primaries happening, you've got DeSantis dropping out and a ton of people coming from those campaigns. And then we've been talking about the Democratic primary today. There's, 25% of the people who voted in that New Hampshire primary today were not voting for Joe Biden. They're going to be looking for alternative candidates once, the Democratic Party ultimately rigs their primary and doesn't allow any of the candidates who campaigned in New Hampshire to win delegates, as they said. I think I want to encourage everyone to just have, as much grace, of talking to people from other campaigns as you can too. Because it's pretty hard if you believe in a candidate to have them drop out. The last thing you want is someone from another campaign just coming and immediately demanding like, hey, join the campaign, after you've believed in this candidate and you've been following them for a while. So, I encourage everyone to approach that with grace. Just point out, places where there is agreement on with DeSantis. There's a ton of agreement, obviously, on the big issue of COVID. And so I think a lot of voters were interested in that.
Hey,
But yeah, Robin, go ahead. Yeah.
Did you guys talk about the radio show coming up?
No, actually, but I would love for you to talk a little bit about that. I heard that, but didn't know much about
Kennedy Radio.
Yeah,
Let's
go ahead,
go.
Kyle.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Randy
Yeah,
is doing that, right?
Yeah, Randy Economy, who ran the Gavin Newsom recall and had a radio show around the Gavin Newsom recall, is restarted the Kennedy Radio, which I think is going to be 13 episodes, live streamed, with Bobby, with guests, with surrogates. Like, that's open talk. Like, it's a new container for us to explore in. And I think honestly, like, what we're doing right here, this is great radio.
Well, I do put these spaces out. I later repurpose them as a podcast. We call it the Kennedy Americans Podcast. And this one, I think, is going to be episode 23. So it'll be out on all other platforms within the next few days because not everybody uses Twitter. A lot of people don't know how to use Twitter Spaces yet. But so we put it out on YouTube. We put it out on Rumble and Facebook and every other platform that we possibly can, and major podcasting platforms. So I love this idea of Kennedy Radio. Tell me more. Tell me more. That's exciting. Radio is my love. I've been doing this for 35 years in radio. So I would love to help with that project.
Terrific. Well, let's all talk to let's talk to Randy.
I don't know Randy, but I will. I'll make a point to introduce myself to him.
Let's co-create. What do people want to see out of Kennedy Radio? What's
revolutionary music too, on top of
there you go.
too.
Now you're talking.
Yeah,
We got to play your song,
Amarilla said
Jay.
that they're doing that because they
Yeah.
takes all the time to get people doing their music, and she wants to put that out on there. She says there's so many amazing people, artists that are doing work with music and everything for Bobby. So that's going to happen. Also, I wanted to share, somebody's asking me in the private message here that is this Tuesday meeting is going to happen again, but also the Thursday meetings are still on. So they have not been canceled. Tuesday and Thursday will happen now.
Yeah, so there's like
we're having this meeting every 2 Tuesdays. Like that national Zoom meeting, and then there's People for Kennedy are also hosting Zoom rooms
Thursdays, right?
Yeah.
Thursdays, yeah.
It's going to be
And
every other Tuesday. It's not a week.
This isn't in replace of the Tuesday meeting. So People for Kennedy is completely separate from
No,
Team
what I'm
Kennedy.
saying is that I was under the understanding that next week Amaryllis said we were going to get a California update about how many signatures had come in. That's why I thought there was another meeting. But
Yeah, I think we should just do these every Tuesdays.
And then the other meeting is Thursday. Could somebody tell the listeners, people who might not know how to sign up for those meetings? They're open to the public. Let them know how to sign up.
Yeah, so if you want to sign up, just on Kennedy 24, sign up and say volunteer, and then you'll get the invite and the calendar link to be able to just click one button, add it to your calendar, and join in.
Yo, not to mention, guys, Kyle and myself are going to be hosting spaces on a regular basis, so you can always come up and talk
joining these spaces too, because this is great.
Yeah, and we'll always be tuning in and supporting you guys as you make your spaces
Johnny
too.
has them.
Laurie, anytime I see you online, or Holden, I see you online, or Robin and Michigan, and anybody who's making spaces, if I'm online, I'll be there.
This is the way, guys. Create. Jay, I love the music too. Like, yeah, put out the kind of artistic stuff that people in the campaign are doing too. That's fantastic, because that's just stuff that people can engage with no matter what. You know, I've heard multiple, independent third-party candidates in the past who've struggled with breaking through to audiences say that the best things for their campaigns were non-political things, going to community fairs and stuff. So highlighting artists in the community that's the way to go. Yeah, and everyone start creating, whatever your calling is, start creating.
100%. Stay creative. This is key. Also, I think Kyle and I are gonna have Jamel Holly, one of the senior advisors to Mr. Kennedy, come on for a space this week to answer your guys' questions as well. So be on the lookout for that. We'll lock in a date and make a flyer, and we'll get a graphic circulating, and you guys can tune into that as well and ask him any questions that you may
guys,
have.
I'm going to interrupt. Sorry. Speaking of the creative, our own Aaron Everett, the lonely hipster, was just retweeted or quote tweeted by Kennedy just now. So retweet like mad.
Can you post it?
Let's go.
Aaron's videos are so good. I love his videos. Yeah.
I want to talk to him. Is there any way we could talk to him?
Just message him. Lonely hipster.
He comes in spaces a lot too. Yeah, he's around.
Yeah, let's talk to Lonely Hipster. He seems cool.
Well done.
Good job, Lonely Hipster.
Yeah, beautiful work. This is it. There's so much amazing work.
No, he deserves all the credit. Editing videos like that, there's so many hours that go into editing like a 5 to 10 minute video like he does. So much credit to Aaron. He makes fantastic stuff.
Editing is a lot of work. That's why I'm not on Twitter as much as I'd like to be. I'm usually busy editing a video or a podcast.
The greatest part is it's not even work for him. It's like he's just inspired to do it. I've talked to him a little bit in DM, and he sent me, what is it called? Rumble's where he posts all of his videos. So he's got a good, almost 20 of them on there. And I mean, he is just motivated.
He follows me already. I followed him back. I'm so new to this shit on Twitter. I really have only been on here I made an account a long time ago, but I never really used it until this week. So, man, you guys are cool.
Thanks.
This is the place to be, my friend.
The only social media giant that's not fighting people for censorship. So that's what I like the most about this platform. After all that I put on Facebook, I feel like it was just a waste of time. And I actually feel like I can contribute content here without it being deleted or, you know. what do they call it, shadow ban.
Amaryllis tonight made a plug for us to get out here on X, because this is the least censored, even, and they're looking into the censorship that we all think has gone on with, throttling us and stuff, but it's probably not happening as much as we want. She shared that we should be retweeting, reposting, liking, and following groups and all of the stuff about Kennedy that you want to see, because that changes the algorithm. So
yeah, like just us just like going and just liking and supporting all of it will create a lot of algo traffic for the movement.
And what I was talking about in a space the other day too is just pick up a couple things about the algorithm. Like look up. You can just use the search function on Twitter to look up some tips about the algorithm, because it's very easy to just learn a couple things and your posts will start doing better, getting a lot more traction in the algorithm. Like one thing I've been telling people is the algorithm doesn't actually like hashtags. Do not use a lot of hashtags in your post. That'll kind of deboost stuff. So just picking up a couple of things will help it get trending too.
Interesting. I've heard that hashtags actually deboost your posts on Twitter, and yet I've been putting any Kennedy related posts with that hashtag of Kennedy 24. Should I not do that?
I believe up to 1 is okay. I think the best is none. Best is to have no hashtags at all, but 1 is okay. No more than 1 though.
Good to know. Thanks, Holden.
Happy to help. Yeah.
Kennedy 24 without the hashtag, so that the Kennedy 24 is still there, so that Bobby's post, because he hashtags his most of the time. So yeah.
I think instead of a hashtag, it'd be great just to put Kennedy24.com at the bottom, even.
Right.
Links are actually worse. Links are probably the worst you could do. I mean, I know it's that's not helpful at all, because you need to link people to the campaign, obviously. So the best thing to do is to do an original post and then put the link in the reply, because that will not deboost your original post, and then you can have the link right below it.
Wise words, folks.
Thank you.
Wise words.
Great tips, Holden. Thanks a lot, man.
Great tips.
Yeah, great tip, Holden. And really quick, by the way, just to go back to that Kennedy radio idea, announcement that Kyle brought up a few minutes ago. It's funny because that does remind me of that space we had the other day, Augustus. Remember where everyone suggested the fireside chat, between DeSantis and RFK. It kind of sounds like this could be the kind of platform to start out something like that, and then not just limit it to one candidate, but also to explore common ground with others too. But you remember that, Augustus?
Yeah, bro, I remember that. And I remember thinking to myself, in that moment, I don't really want to do this and whatnot, but it was entertaining for everybody. But in my mind, I was like, okay, this is an interesting idea, but what's in it for us? He's going to drop out any day, and what do we get out of all of that? The Kennedy team is already going to have the DeSantis people come towards us, so let's just try to facilitate this as a conversation in the community, and that's the best way to bring it forward, as opposed to actually following through with. Does that make
Anybody
sense?
else want to speak before we close up the space? I know it's getting kind of late, but I wanted to make sure everyone had a chance to speak. If you'd like to speak, please raise your hand. I think we've got a few speakers we haven't gone to yet. Indy, I see you got your hand up. Let's go to you next.
I was just going to say, would it make more sense to have just a conversation with maybe DeSantis and a few other people now that he is out of the race? I think when he was in the race, it would have set Bobby down a notch, just as another primary candidate vying, whereas he's a general election candidate as an independent. but as a way to try to reach out to some of DeSantis's folks now that he's out of the race. And it wouldn't have to be like a one-on-one with DeSantis either. You could invite a couple other, popular figures and have like a space with it. Might be more palatable and not so much making it look like it's a debate between the two. Just an idea.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, and I think it's something we can emulate too. Like if DeSantis himself won't come into a space, we can talk to DeSantis supporters and emulate that same vibe of, we're looking for common ground. We're looking for the values we agree on, because there are a lot of, with 95% of people, the values you agree on like far, far outstrip the things we disagree on, and we can embody that in conversations with DeSantis folks. So I think, yeah, it would be a good idea to like schedule some of those, if there's a DeSantis influencer out there, not necessarily him, or other candidates too, like just start up those conversations, start talking to people and find the common ground, and they'll, come around, because the two parties, we know what candidates we're going to get from the two parties. So if we just start planting seeds now, it's gonna be rewarding in the long run.
Yeah, I just wanted to add real quick, like maybe high profile DeSantis surrogates and high profile Kennedy surrogates too could take the place. But it'd have to be in like a really public forum, I guess, spaces. But if we could even try to get it out, if it's surrogates like who's that one lady, blonde hair, Shannon Joy, like folks like that, that they could simultaneously like live stream and cross post on their various platforms to amplify, that would be cool.
She's reposted some of my Kennedy posts the last few days, actually. I can reach out to her and see if there's, another Kennedy person who would like to talk to her too.
I noticed Dave Rubin is getting really open to Kennedy now as well. He's like trying to test the water with his audience with a few different videos as soon as DeSantis dropped out. Very favorable to Kennedy. He even played Mickey Willis's Independence video in full. So he would have a lot of reach and influence. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, I think anywhere we can be having those conversations would be great. I'm reaching out to people to try and schedule some of those too. With so anyone else who's interested in participating, like hit me up. Let's I can do it a lot. I'm focused here on X, but Aaron's on Rumble, Lori's on Rumble and YouTube. There's plenty of content we can be doing, plenty of places we can be having conversations. Was there anyone else who wanted to get in a couple of closing thoughts before Eric? Did you want to jump in?
Yeah, actually, I'm sure you've all heard of chronic fatigue syndrome. Very famous syndrome. It was something that happened in Incline Village back in 1985 when a group of people got sick and were attacked by the CDC, NIH, and specifically suppressed by Dr. Fauci, because our clues and evidence were all destroyed. And a lot of that evidence had to do with toxic mold and Lyme disease. And it just so happens that RFK Jr. has been very upfront about his own battles with Lyme disease and toxic mold. And I believe that he is poised to become the representative of hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people who've had their illness of Lyme disease and toxic mold suppressed.
He's a unique voice on so many issues, man. That's just another example. Between that, Bitcoin, his stance on big agriculture, the idea for legalizing marijuana and building organic farms with it. He's a unique voice, man. Solution-oriented approach. So, for sure.
Yeah, I believe that if RFK Jr. is just brought out as the leading representative, somebody who's open about talking about these issues, especially toxic mold and Lyme disease, that there's a huge block of people who would be swung over to support him because he's the only person actually speaking about this.
You know, just a personal story. Back in 2007 or 8, Bobby had to literally tear down his own house. This is when he was living in New York. They lived in this great old, you know, I think 18th century home that got infested with mold. And it just made the whole family sick. You know, some of his kids were still pretty young at that time. It made them all incredibly sick. And the place was so infested with mold that they just had to tear the whole damn house down and start over and built a new house. And they built it very green. They called it the Kennedy Greenhouse. But yeah, the place was so bad. I've lived also in homes that had toxic mold infestations, and they made me and my pets and every member of the family sick. So I could totally relate to that. And yes, I do think a lot of our chronic illnesses are, if not caused by, certainly aggravated by mold.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, but the Center for Disease Control and NIH was aware of this back in 1985 and moved to suppress it. And there's been a number of us trying to bring this out ever since. And it looks like, since nobody else is talking about this, if he focuses on this and it reaches out to the mold illness community and to the Lyme disease community, because for some reason there seems to be an interplay between spirochetal infections and mold exposure, that he would instantly get all their support.
%. I wanted to
Sorry, I
welcome
stepped away
Elizabeth
from
to
the
the
phone
stage.
for a second.
That's okay. Elizabeth just popped in. Let's go to her next. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi, how are you? Oh my God. I don't want to be a deal breaker here, and I'm coming with good faith, so hear me up, guys. Okay, I think JFK is a nice person. I really like him. I like some of his beliefs, but sorry to burst your bubble. Trump is the man. I think Tucker will not go for that because Tucker is all in on Trump. Unfortunately, for what you're saying, I don't think that's going to happen. But I think Tucker is a very nice man that probably likes Kennedy very much. I think he probably could be an asset to the presidential campaign for Trump, not actually him running as a president. I would not consider him presidential material myself, for many reasons. As a person, I like him a lot. I do like him. And at one point, he was very much going along with Trump things. Right now, he's interested in running for office, and I don't blame him. I think everybody that wants to run for office should run for office and should give the other party a hell for his run. I do believe in that, and I do believe also that may the best man win. But do I think he stands a chance? No, I think he stands a better chance actually being in the platform with Trump and Tucker and all those people, and probably get a good position in government where maybe he can make a big difference in balancing the craziness.
Elizabeth, if I might,
yeah.
What do you think about, like, if it was the second, like, you know, in doing this, you know, we get to have two good candidates in the race. Because if he just wasn't here and it was just Trump and Biden, it would be a circus.
Oh, I agree. Oh my God,
because we have Bobby,
yes.
because we have Bobby and we have this voice here.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's time. You don't have to make up your mind today.
No.
Well,
I'll tell you.
Like, I would say, like, you got to drop in with Bobby.
No, I get you. I get what you just said made a lot of sense. If it's between Trump and Biden, oh hell yeah, bring him in now, because what we don't need is Biden. I mean,
right?
We don't. No. He needs to get out that door and running. First of all, he's not qualified for a president. Second of all, he's got a lot of dirt on him and his family. Third of all, he pedophile. Fourth of all, he's communist. I mean, I can go on for days and days, and I do agree with you 100%. We do need candidates that could give the other party a run for its money. I don't like everything just set in stone.
And I think by Kennedy running too, Trump gets to listen and learn a lot, and Trump is like also saying like,
no,
yeah.
I think, let me tell you, I think Trump and Kennedy will see if he runs. I think Trump is open to hearing him.
Bobby
And
is
if the
running
other,
independent, and
I
Bobby's
know.
asking you to be independent as well.
Yeah, but that'll take all hell on wheels from that to happen from me. I mean, really, I come from a communist country, and what I'm against is communism. So it'll never happen. And I'm very much a Trump follower, and you guys know it. And I'm not being a party pooper. Actually, I like Kennedy. So here you go. Hear me out. I like him. I think he could be a force of nature in the party, but I don't think that compared to Trump, he's not going to win. I think that he will be an asset in our party. Unfortunately,
Were you involved with the last Trump campaign?
Oh yeah. Oh no. Let me tell you, I know Matt Gaetz. I know Roger Stone. I know De Souza. I know Trump Jr. I was at the Trump Doral. I've been following Trump since 2016 when I got invited to go to the party that he was actually going to be nominated for saying that he was going to be coming into as a presidential candidate. I've been following him since then. Nobody brainwashed me. The only ones that probably brainwashed was my parents, being that they came from a communist country. My father almost got killed by a firing squad in Cuba the day before he came to freedom. Actually, legally, we came here legally. So I am all for legal immigration, not illegal immigration, and that means that everybody has to how would you say be vetted?
Conscious immigration.
Vetted, and it should be somebody actually. To me, it needs to be people that are going to be an asset to the United States, not a burden in the United States, and that will help with some kind of, like maybe doctors or science or something. Somebody that could apport something to society, not come here to take money from people,
or they want to come live the American dream,
right? But to help,
land of opportunity,
to help, but not to hinder or to take tax money from us. So I'm a different kind of person, I think, in this way, because I grew up in communism, and we lost our home. My father almost got killed by a firing squad. I know right now for a fact, the worst thing that we got going in the United States right now is not Biden or Trump. It's actually communism. I do believe communism is here. When I came from Cuba as a little girl, I didn't think of it as much, but as I started growing up, I realized that now that I'm a grown person with sense, not just a teenager thinking crap, I realized that the United States is actually in danger. And when the United States is in danger, Europe is in danger. And I love both Europe and the United States. So I want the world to have a good president. Number one, a good president. That's what I want. So, and I want that both parties to work together. And I don't even care if it's Democrats, Republicans, and independents. We need to work together. This is the world. This is not, we cannot continue in the way we're going. We just can't. They're destroying the United States of America and everything that comes right along with it in society. So we need the John F. K's of this world. We need Trump. We need Tucker. We need people that are normal. We don't need pedophiles. We don't need, people that are just going to be stirring the pot or controlling this nation, or people that are so much in love with money that they're hurting the United States just for the hell of getting rich. That's where I stand. And of course, I didn't come here to, put a damper on things.
Welcome.
On the contrary.
Thank you.
On the contrary.
This is great. This is the best. You're amazing. Where are you based, Elizabeth?
I'm Miami, Florida. Yeah.
I'm in Sarasota. Love my.
Oh my God, that's cool. Sarasota. Yeah. I've never been there.
Sarasota, and just I took my bus to go to General Flynn's event.
Oh my God, I know him.
Yeah,
I've got pictures. Listen, I've got pictures with all these people, but I don't like to put them up. I don't
No,
want.
we don't need to post pictures all the time.
This is what I want to say. This is what I'm
Social
going to say.
proofs.
No. Exactly. Listen, this is what I'm going to say about me. I've been to Trump events at the Trump Doral. I've had the opportunity to even, take pictures with a lot of these people because I used to be a photographer. So, of course, knowing a person that loves photography, the first thing I do is, can I have a picture? Like I'm starstruck with these people. So I just want it for my own love of country book, meaning it's my life. And I want to have moments that I became part of something. And right now, we need to understand that we're part of this movement that could actually change the world for a better place. I mean, a better yes. No, it has to be.
Absolutely.
This thing that Republicans hate Democrats, Democrats hate Republicans. A person cannot accept Bobby. We won't go.
Do you love the Republican Party? Like, who loves the Republican Party? Fuck these parties.
Well, no, I do. I'm going to say honestly. You know why? You know why I want to tell you that I love the Republican Party? Because I'm so anti-communist and I'm so fucking worried.
Agreed, but it's a uniparty, so it's like
no. Right now it's a mess. I've never seen this.
It's a uniparty.
No, I agree. This is a mess. A total mess. And at one point I was an independent like you. So I want you to understand that when I was younger, I was. So
understand that most of us here were not independents always.
Well, I was.
We've all just recently really declared our independence, just like Bobby declared his independence.
And let me tell you,
we're asking you to declare your independence as well. And that doesn't mean declaring independence from Trump.
No, I get it. I get it.
It's just like release yourself from party constraints.
No, I listen.
And let's get the best people in office.
That's what we need. The best people in office.
Possible.
Let me tell you. I totally believe that if we can get Bobby, Tucker, Trump, many people. I mean, there's some artists that are not Hollywood pedophiles that can get involved in this. That would be an asset. And you need to appeal to all kinds of people, including the young people that really love certain actors. And there's some that are conservative in nature, that really care about their country. That's what we need. We don't need the crazies. I mean, we need the normal ones. And the only way that we're going to change the world is like that, because I don't see any other way of this happening. Honestly, I really don't see it. I mean, you have to be open-minded for something like this to happen. And this hating that you hear in most spaces. Oh, I hate you because of this. I hate you. That sounds to me like so childish and junior high-ish. What is that? I mean, you don't have a brain to think. We have a problem with the world. We need to think more open-minded, or this is not going to change.
So, Elizabeth, if I might, can you tell me, like, how great were the Trump parties?
Oh, I'm going to tell you seriously. I'm going to tell you, okay. I went to the
Trump parties.
No, I'm going to tell you seriously. I went to the Trump Doral 3 times. The last time I didn't go because he had already lost. I knew the good people weren't going to be there. I thought I was going to be wasting my time, and I'm not a type of person that likes to waste my time. I don't. So I didn't go, and it was COVID just happening, and Trump had just lost, and my heart was broken. But I can tell you that in the Trump Doral, I'm going to tell you how it was. Everybody was there. Everybody was very gung-ho about the country. They were very polite. I could tell you that at the end of the night, and it was a 3-day event at the Trump Doral. It's called an Amp Fest. And when you go there, you meet people from all walks of lives. You all races. Everybody gets along. Nobody was at night. Let me tell you, this impressed me. At night, the Trump Doral has a bar area, okay, where everybody confabulated around that area. Everybody, there was anybody, including them, the high ones, including Trump Jr., everybody. I have pictures with Trump Jr. and his girlfriend standing in the back, and she making a face. It's hilarious. I have a lot of beautiful memories. So what I'm saying is, I didn't see people rolling on the floor drunk like a skunk. I didn't see people disrespecting anybody. I just saw people happy. And I thought to myself, hell yeah. I mean, you are all around a bar, and the chances of being around a bar and somebody really being in the corner throwing up and getting out of hand or being disrespectful, it's high. You
That's
know that.
nice. That's a great experience.
It wasn't.
Sounds
That
like
yeah, it was good.
real joy. Hey, did you do any car rallies or boat rallies or anything like that?
Yes, I did. I went to the there was one, well, rallies. I went to the Jewish rally, which was funny. I went there alone. I got invited. Trump was going to be there. I mean, the line from hell, and the dogs, and every other corner they would check your purse and to get in, whatever. But the funniest part to me was when I found myself. I mean, I wanted to know a little bit about I'm open minded, you know. So I'm Catholic, and I wanted to know about the Jewish community. I wanted to know how I felt around them. I mean, I'm crazy. I mean, I'm like that. So I go there alone, and I find myself eventually at the end of the night, after I had danced with them all night long, and they're so cool. They had music, even like disco music. I mean, they had Jewish music and they had disco music, and like I felt at home. I got there, I didn't have a good place to sit, and I remember this young guy and this young girl go to me, "Do you have a place to sit?" I said, "No, I'm having difficulty trying to take pictures." And they go, "Come and join us." And so I joined there and I sat with them. I felt really at home. At the end of the night, I'm in the elevator, full of Jews around me, and I'm saying, "Fuck, what the hell am I doing here?" Because I felt comfortable because I'm very daring, but I thought, what are they gonna think of me? Like, you can tell I'm Cuban, you can tell that I don't belong there, and I said, but I do belong here. You know, it's like me, the rebel in me, I do belong here. And so they go to me, where are you from? And I said, I'm Cuban American, and why are you here? I said, I wanted to know about your culture. And they said, thank you for coming. And I thought to myself, hell yeah. You know, it's like, I get happy when I do something out of my comfort zone that is different. And about the rallies, I didn't go to the boat rallies. I did go to a lot of street car followings, and one especially in FIU that everybody and their mother was there. I was in a rally that was 70,000, I think, cars. I went with a girlfriend. She drove. I was on the top of the car trying to take pictures because I'm a photographer. So she was holding my legs while I was trying to take pictures in the top of the car. You know, like they have the thing to be able to, you can get out, and everybody was driving like slow so that we could go all around. And it was the experience of a lifetime. I like being around people.
So it was like a parade. That sounds incredible.
It was. They left out of FIU. If you want to have a place to have a get together, and I can guarantee you that's a good place for you guys to have anything you want to, you know, push Bobby or whatever the hell you want to do. I'm telling you, I'm being honest. That place is huge. It has a huge car lot. And from there, you can actually leave towards the streets with your signs. But you have to ask permission from the police department in Miami, Florida, to be able to do this. And that's easy to do. You just go to the police department, I guess, and you just file whatever, and you do it. But I mean, it was huge. It went all over the city, and I participated in that. I also participated in one that had to do with Cuba, with my country, my birth country, of course, my birth country. I'm a confused puppy. I am a Cuban by birth and American by heart or by choice. So I have two birth countries. That's what I consider myself. So I did go to the 11J in Miami by La Carreta, and I was there surrounded by all kinds. It also impressed me. There was blacks, there was Cubans, there was Nicaraguans, there was Americans. There was this American guy with this huge American flag, and so you would see the support of the American people for the Cuban people, because in Cuba they were trying to try to liberate themselves, and they can't do it. There's just no way they can do this. If Cuba doesn't get help from the United States, they can just forget it. I'll never see my country free ever. And I just want to walk the streets of my country one day and know where my parents fell in love and see the home that I used to live in that was taken by the Castro regime, and my father's photography business that was also taken by the Castro regime. And I'm going to cry. I can't even talk right now. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, thank you so much for sharing, Elizabeth.
Yeah, thank you.
We all love you so much. And,
no, I just want to share because,
and it's beautiful, and like, you know, and we're just I'm so grateful for you know, the beautiful story, and
it's a sad story too. It's beautiful and sad. It's beautiful because I'm in the United States of America and I'm free.
Well, and it's a warning too, though, as well.
Yep, it is. You know what? I'm going to say very important here, more important than anything of my opinions, is that until you live communism, the people that come from countries all over the world that have lived communism, the immigrants that have come here from other countries for communism, and I'm not talking illegal immigrations with pedophiles. No, I'm talking about people that come here to be free. The United States is supposed to be a country of immigrants. We're not all pure breed. Actually, the Indians are the only ones, so give me a break. The country needs to have all kinds of people of every nationality, and every nationality is not bad. So we have to give everybody a break, including the ones that we think that are horrific. There's got to be some good ones in there too. So basically what I'm trying to say, we need to be more open-minded. We need to stick together. We need to show the government that the buck stops here. You've gone far enough. Indeed. You've stolen from us enough. I don't believe that people, another thing that I'm firmly believe in.
Thank you. I'd like to allow Sherry a second to speak up and offer her reflections as well.
Thank you.
I think we all can resonate with you and the stories. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Elizabeth, I just want to tell you before you go that even though your guy is running against my guy,
it's not a thing like I don't see it like that. I don't see it like that. Because you know why? I'll tell you why. Because if he wins, I will feel happy with him. I'm the type of person I would respect him. It's not like Biden. It's what I want you to understand. We need whoever wins, may the best man win. This is a country that needs to have presidents that go against each other fairly. And whoever wins, we need to respect. But we cannot respect the Biden. I'm sorry. That's the only... I can't respect communism. I didn't respect Obama either. He shook the hands of the brother of Castro. That, to me, is the deal breaker. So there he goes out the door, too. But no, I've had presidents that were Democrats that I had no problem with. Why should I? What I want is the best for the country. So, no, right. I'm not that kind of person.
That's right. I can promise you that Kennedy will be a great president.
No, I know that he comes from a good family. I know his background and I know what he stands for. So,
right.
Thank you.
Right. And thank you. And, even though I think a Trump-Kennedy ticket, while highly desired, is probably highly unlikely to happen because Bobby's going to take this all the way to the finish line in November. But we'll see how things shake out. If Trump wins, on the off chance that Bobby should lose, I hope that Trump would bring him into his administration as his attorney general. I'm just going to put that out there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
Right now.
And you know something? Anything is possible. Trump doesn't write in, how would I say this? I don't think Trump is the one to be locked in a box. Remember, Trump's daughter's a Democrat. Just remember that. And she changed to be a Republican because her father was voting. I think it was
right.
Ivanka.
And a lot of Trump's inner circle are like old Kennedy Democrats.
Yes, he was in Hollywood. Think about it.
Giuliani.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
They grew up with JFK and RFK, and they were Kennedy
Democrats
in their youth.
Yes, so we cannot close the doors on any good possibility. We need to be very open-minded right now, and we need to think out of the box if we want to save this country. Yeah.
And Trump was so often accused of politicizing the Justice Department. I mean, yes, the department was politicized, but it was politicized the other way. It was the Democrats in the DOJ who were always coming after Trump and his family members during his administration. And I personally think that Trump made two very poor choices for Attorney General last time. I think that Jeff Sessions and Bill Barr were huge mistakes. He hired the swamp in those cases.
Agree.
But I think that this time around, if he made RFK Jr. his Attorney General, then we could get that swamp.
Oh, my God. Oh, hell will... Listen, if we get good people in there, hell will break loose. This country will come back in seconds.
That's right. Right on,
seconds.
Yeah. It's not even we're going to go backwards. We're going to blast off forwards.
That's right. And I see, Sherry, you've had your hand up for a while. I'm going to go to you next, girl. If you're still awake, are you still there?
No, I don't even want to interrupt Elizabeth because it's just everything she's saying is just great. And I'm so sorry to hear about your family and what you came from. And you know, most of my life I was raised by Republicans, and I'm just going to let you know, it's not just Democrats and independents here. I voted for Trump twice because the first time I thought that he could fix our economy. He was a businessman. He had good financial instincts, and I thought that he had enough money that he wouldn't be persuaded by anybody. And that was the biggest thing I started to notice, was that political party issue. And, you know, that's pretty much the reason that I separated from him now. And the other deciding factor was his decision to get the COVID vaccine. I completely do not support that at all. I felt like he went back on what he stood for by doing that. And it went, how do I say it? Like, I feel like what they're doing to him now, like if he could have just spoke to people more respectfully and he didn't create like adjectives for everybody he didn't like these are all the people that are coming back at him now and draining him with legal fees and everything. And that was like pretty much my main concern for voting for him again this year, was because if they deplete him of all of his finances and he wasn't even accepting his salary as the president during his time in office, like, I saw a lot of shady stuff happening during those two. And it's like, by voting for a Republican or a Democrat, it's just continuing this cycle of a war. And it's like, we just need to pull people out of that mentality. There is not two sides. This is like two sides of the same coin. And these corporations have gotten so ingrained within our government that they control our government now. It's not even, I don't even think, you know, to me, what I see, I think these corporations are manipulating our government and taking advantage of it to force the people for their greed, to get more profits, more money. Because as soon as that COVID vaccine came out, like, for people that know me here, when I was in my master's for public health, so I'm doing biostatistics, and when that stuff started coming out, it was just like, I don't know. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought there. It is kind of getting late, but it was just, oh, I know what I was going to say. So when that vaccine first came out, they were saying that they weren't going to release, the only people that did any kind of studies were the people that made the fucking vaccines. And they're giving that to the government. And then at one point, they were giving it to them in such a slow form, it would take like, I can't even remember. It was going to take like a year for them to release all the information to the FDA. So they had to step in and do a court case and force them to like send the information faster so that they could get access to it. And what they did was they were fear mongering.
75 years they wanted to do it.
Was that what it was? Yeah, it was some
75
fucking
years.
crazy, ridiculous number. And what they were doing was they were fear mongering our government. They're saying, oh my God, now we have this pandemic that's breaking out. And I wouldn't doubt it's these corporations that plan this, not our government. I think our government's been manipulated too by a lot of these things. And it all comes down to money. And it's like money, money, money. If people, I wish we could live off a barter system. Like, how wonderful would this world be if all of us bartered our skills and our products and what we create, and there was no money? Like, what kind of a world would that be like, you know? And I don't know. I just wanted to add that. That's all I wanted to add. And Elizabeth, thank you so much for being here and sharing, because something brought you here. Nothing in our title says anything about Trump. So I know that you're with us and you share a lot of the same, you know, beliefs. So thank you for coming.
Hey, Cher, if you have a second, check out a resource based economy at the Venus Project. It's a really interesting concept, but that barter, that economy without money is an interesting concept. So check that out if you have a chance.
Can you put that in the comments?
Sure, I'll drop it down in there. It's by a guy named Jax Fresco. And yeah, I'll show it to you. We'll talk later, but yeah, I'll post it down low.
Hey guys, I just wanted to jump in and say I have to drop off now. It's getting pretty late here, just past 1 a.m. for me. But thank you all for a fantastic conversation. Elizabeth, thank you for joining and chatting with us. You know, I appreciate you taking the time. Lori, thank you so much for hosting. Kyle, thank you for being here, my friend. I appreciate all of you guys. This has been a fantastic conversation. I hope you keep going. Don't let me stop you.
Let's go. You know who's still going? Thank you, Holden. Sweet dreams. You know who else is still going? The Zoomers are still going.
I think we've still got a few people who have yet to speak. I'd like to bring Michael up to the stage if he's ready.
Well,
he's actually a Democratic candidate for Senate. What state are you in, Michael?
I am in the great state of Kansas.
Yay, you're my neighbor.
Well, where are you?
I'm in Oklahoma.
Oh, you are my neighbor. I'm really close to you. I just moved to Wellington.
Where's Wellington, Kansas?
Oh, it is so close to the Oklahoma border. border that you would think that our ground would be red.
Yeah, you need some red dirt, some red soil.
Yeah.
Welcome
So
to the panel.
this has been quite a day, hasn't it? So
Yes, it
I
has.
think but I will say I kind of have to disclose this because you guys will get a big kick out of this. I did not know it at the time that I asked her to be my treasurer, but when I called the Whitfields and I said, "Hey, Bobby Kennedy is running," and Femin said to me, she said, "I worked for them." I said, "No." She says, "Oh yeah." She said, "I worked for him and most of the family on the West Coast." And so I was like, "You're telling me I've got like one of the best bookkeeping people in the nation running my FEC stuff?" And she said, "Well, you could." She said, "I didn't say that." She said, "But you could." So Holden, if you're still in the room, by the way, I enjoyed that last room you did with Marianne, by the way.
Holden's no longer with us.
I think Holden has left the building.
Okay, well, anyway, he does interesting little rooms. But anyway, long story short, I'm one of these people that's really a pure independent, because when I started running for federal office, I started out as a Republican. And of course, as you can see, I'm registered as a Democrat. So I've ran for federal office under both umbrellas. But frankly, if I could, I'd run as an independent, or maybe even, God forbid that I say it in this room, I would even consider running as a Green. So I think we need to get change. We just need change, and if it happens to be Bobby, then so be it. If it happens to be another candidate, then great. But we do need change, don't we?
Well, let me ask you, Michael, why are you not running independent? Is it because of the high bar to get ballot access, or why are you running with the Democratic Party?
Well, okay, yeah. So the problem, the last person to do what Bobby is doing now nationwide, but here in Kansas, is Greg Orman, who you probably know because I believe he has donated to Bobby's campaign. And so you'd have to check with whoever's running the FEC stuff for you guys now. But I think Greg Orman donated, or was talking about donating, to independent campaigns in general. But he spent about, I want to say, over $20 million of his own hard, cold cash in the state as an independent to run for Senate, which I did in 2022, and I'm planning to do in 2026. And he didn't even come close. We're talking like 400,000 votes behind. So it's so very difficult. And to the short answer to your question is that the duopoly has it locked up. You're either red or you're blue. If you're not blue or red or red or blue or blue or red, the voters just simply what you are in Kansas. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Is it a largely Democrat district that you're running for?
Okay. So it's a little confusing what I'm running for, because I'm doing something I haven't done previously. Okay. So here's the map. So in 2020, I ran as a Republican for Congress. In 22, I ran as a Democrat for United States Senate. And now I'm stepping a half step back to run in 24 for the state Senate, which is in Topeka. And then I'm already declared for a senatorial run in 2026. And I left my FEC thing open for exploration for a potential presidential run in 28. So, but this is a half step back that I'm taking right now. I'm literally running for the state Senate. So anyway, if that makes any sense to you,
I see. Okay, sorry, I goofed. I thought you were running for U.S. Senate. You're running for the state Senate.
Well, of course, it's confusing because I left the FEC filing open. And one of the things that some, not all, some candidates do is they just leave them open because they know that they're going to run again. Because you can go into the FEC filings and literally just update the year. But anyway, long story short, at least as of this moment, unless we have a special election of some kind that's called, I'm running for something that has the name senator in front of it. In 2024, it's the Kansas Senate. In 2026, it will be United States Senate for the second time.
Outstanding. Well, I hope you're voting for Kennedy. Does he have your vote?
Well, after what happened tonight, I have, after what happened tonight to my girl, Marianne. I mean, Bobby's going to be, but Bobby might be a very viable option. and I'm not exaggerating. I mean, my treasurer, I knew she was superb, but it didn't surprise me when she had told me she had actually worked on the West Coast, for the Kennedy family. So, but I think, let me put it to you like this. He's looking much more attractive tonight after what happened in New Hampshire. How about that?
That works for me. Yeah, we'll win you over. Just keep coming back to our spaces. It's really nice to have you. And I'm about to wrap this up because it's after 1 a.m. on the East Coast. I know it's getting kind of late, but I wanted to get a final thought from Jay. I see you got your hand up. Go ahead, Jay.
Oh, wow. That was actually by accident. Sorry about that. But yeah, but yeah, I guess really quick, great space, Lori. So much good information shared here. I think one thing everyone should remember is Kennedy has the highest favorability rating of any candidate. He's going to qualify to be on the debate stages, and when he gets on there, he's going to rip a new one in both Biden and Trump, and man, am I here for it. So we have a lot of time between now and November, and my guess is as people listen to more and more long-form Kennedy interviews, the coalition will continue to grow. So I'm glad to hear you're open to hearing what Kennedy has to say, Michael. Trust me, you won't be disappointed.
I want to just say something. I spent a lot of time listening to a lot of the long form interviews before he declared and when he declared. So when I picked up the phone and I called my friends in Arkansas, Dan and Fim and Whitfield, I said, you really need to listen. I think one of the interviews that's most impressive is it's not just one interview, but it's a series of interviews that Megyn Kelly did. And because I think a lot of people, when they listen to maybe a sound bite, that's been edited, it's deceptive. But to really understand Bobby, you really need to listen to the whole idea. And the whole idea is not a soundbite, if that makes any sense.
100%, man. And to be honest with you, when you listen to him in long form, it's really hard to disagree with him on most issues. So all I would say is there's never going to be a candidate you agree with 100% on the issues on. There are definitely one or two issues. I would tweak a little bit, if I have Bobby's ear. But all in all, if you look at his record of fighting for people before he was in office, I'm just excited because we have someone who sued a lot of these corrupt agencies and these dangerous corporations and won. So he knows them inside out. So I'm excited I'm not going to take up too much of the more time, Lori, but appreciate you for hosting the space, and I'm looking forward to what's to come.
Absolutely. And it looks like Kyle Kemper just offered to take over the space if we want to keep it going. Kyle, if you're
I
out
mean,
there.
I'm all hyped up because of the Marianne stuff, so I'm game.
Great. I'm going to add Kyle back as a co-host so that if I have to dip out, he can take over the hosting duties for me.
Hey, Lori, I just wanted to mention, thank you so much for doing this last minute. I know we were kind of talking about it in that group and you weren't planning on doing it. So I appreciate you staying up. I know you're probably tired, but thank you so much. You're a great host. And
yeah, Lori, you're incredible. Thank you. You're just an angel.
Thanks
in all of our lives.
I like the civility in this group. I love it. I love it. People can actually talk. Thank you, Lord.
Isn't it great? You know, we've got Trump
It is
supporters
nice.
here. We've got DeSantis supporters here. We've got Democrats here. We've got longtime independents here, and yet we all agree on the big stuff. And
Ron
that's
Paul
the beauty of this
acolytes.
campaign. That's right. And I wanted to welcome Aga.
But at least it's civil, you know, and I think that this is one of the things that you know Bobby is very clear about. But I mean, you know, I think it's part of the Kennedy family culture, which is let's talk about it, right? Which is very much an American culture fundamental, although all of a sudden it's disappeared.
Let's talk about it. Now that is a good line.
Let's talk about it, Aga.
Let's talk
I
about
see
it.
you got your hand up.
Yeah,
Let's
thank
talk
you.
about it,
Thank
Aga.
you, Laurie.
Welcome.
First of all, much greetings for those who are aspiring RFK Jr. and he's on the ballot. And we are sick, and I'm a Democrat, but we are sick and tired of this two-party circus. I have pinned a tweet in your nest to establish the fact that these two parties are the two faces of the same coin. It is a circus. It's a two-party circus, and we have to break this. And also, Laurie, I have sent you a proof in your DM, the copy of the ballot in 2023 elections where the Supreme Court judges were being nominated to defeat the independent candidates for the Supreme Court of the state of New York. The parties join and shake hands together and favor one candidate on the ballot by the two parties. So where is democracy? So we are basically jeopardizing the democracy.
Thank you for sharing that, Aga.
Yes, and I am from New York. I'm from New York, and I truly believe if this nation have to grow, we the people must have to take the command and enlighten ourselves and share our experiences and disclose those things, what is happening behind the door. And I can understand clearly if President Trump was saying the election was rigged. No, it's not rigged. The entire nation has been rigged. Election is not rigged. The entire nation has been rigged. And 330 million people are at the verge of devastation because we are facing economic depression. You can visit my wall and see what is happening. And I also have put 3 polls on my wall. If you please kindly vote on them, and so that we can start working on these things. Thank you very much, Laurie.
Is this Aga? So
Yeah.
you have polls. You have polls in your Twitter feed.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go and vote in them right now.
Thank you very much. God bless you. God bless America. Thank you, Laurie.
God bless. I'm going to vote on your poll too, like right now. Who's next? Who wants to speak? Anybody before we call it a night?
Well, I'm curious more from Michael around like what the process is, because my phone died and I dropped out just as he was explaining, you know, becoming an independent. And I'm really like, you know, from a candidate perspective to run for a Senate seat or a congressional seat, can you just maybe walk us through the journey?
Sure. What do you want to run for, and where are you running from?
let's say I wanted to run for Senate in Colorado.
Okay, I suspect that it's different in Colorado than it is here, and I suspect that there's more.
Or let's say and where are you? Kansas?
I'm in Kansas.
So like, what does it look like in Kansas?
In Kansas, it's very much okay. On the surface, it appears to be a self-nominating system. In other words, let's say Bobby Kennedy decided he wanted to run for Senate in 26 or 28. He could put his name on. But the truth of the matter is that both the Republicans and the Democrats would prefer to be able to cherry pick who they want. So one of the things that's happened here in Kansas for me is that I've been self-nominating and self-funding, and that is not something that the duopoly likes here, because they can't tell me what to do with the campaign. They can't tell me what to do with the platform, and they can't tell me how to dress or not to dress, or what to say and what not to say. And they certainly can't control, at least right now, whether or not I pay that $1,760 to be on the ballot for United States Senate. And by the way, for the lower state level seats, it's only like a couple of hundred. So this year I got my filing fee was only $200. So
what are you running for this year?
I took a half step back, which is that I'm running for state Senate in 24, because the place where I live,
awesome.
Well, I never considered running for a state office of any kind previously, because I didn't know the law and I didn't have a person who actually had done the accounting. So what we did is we're sort of doing an off the grid campaign. In other words, I'm self-funding, and we're not going to set up a donation button or anything for it, because frankly, it would cost more for me to hire attorneys to figure out what to do and what not to do for this little rinky-dink Senate seat, because there are 40 Senate seats for Topeka, which is the capital. So I'm sorry about that, Lori. It's a little long-winded, but it's ironically much more complex to run for this small penny nickel and dime.
So there are 40
seat.
different, but like 40. There's 40 different state election races.
No. Kansas has its own House of Representatives and Senate, which meet in the capital in Topeka. So there are, I think, I can't tell you the exact number of House of Representatives, but there are 40 senators that meet in Topeka. But for the state of Kansas, we have 2 senators that go to Washington, D.C., one of which is your. Okay, cool. So, all right.
Okay, so there's 40 senators, and in this election, it's probably half them that are up for re-election.
I actually don't know, but the seat. What happened was I was looking through the Kansas Secretary of State, and I noticed that there was somebody already filed for the 32nd congressional. The 32nd senatorial seat here in Kansas, and I thought, well, for heaven's sakes, if there is a Senate seat open in 24, I should be running for it. At least my name will be out there.
Absolutely. And it would be nice if there was I look at it from the independence path. If you have a bunch of independent candidates working together, you can potentially share some of that infrastructure that otherwise doing it alone becomes very burdensome. But if you've got a team of 20 different independents running for different seats all over the state, and you guys come together and basically share resources in a smart way, you can all support each other, and we form the We the People coalition. Let's friggin' go, guys.
Are you running for office, or do you want to run for office?
I'm the lead activator on the Kennedy campaign right now, and I come from Canada, and I can't run down here.
Okay, I gotta ask. I've always wanted to know, what the heck is a lead activator? What does that mean?
It means I do a bunch of different stuff.
I thought so.
I got a bus that I drive around. I help out with the merch. I host these Zoom calls. I meet and talk on the phone all day to different people, and just spreading good awareness. That's what I'm doing.
Is it Lori or is it Sherry?
It's Lori. There's Lori and Sherry.
So Lori, I don't know about you, but I've been fascinated. There are lots of Canadians that are really involved in these races. They're really into it.
That's right. We've got a lot of support for Kennedy up there in the Great White North. And I think that, certainly the medical freedom is one of the reasons why he's so attractive to a lot of Canadians. And of course, they love Trump too. I'd say that it's probably pretty split between Trump supporters and Kennedy supporters. But he's got so many people up in Canada. I mean, I co-host a Canadian news program, Maverick News. My co-host is up in Ontario, Rick Walker. And so we hear from Canadians all the time on the show. And boy, do they wish they could vote in the United States election.
Well, there's 500,000 Americans apparently who live in Canada who can vote. So that's a worthwhile cause.
It's interesting because in Marianne's campaign, there was, there were several, or I should put it in present tense, several people who were Canadians who were, doing a lot of lobbying and influencing, as we like to say.
Got to be careful with that, though. There are some laws that we have to be very careful with for non-citizens to be too involved in a campaign. They can volunteer, but they can't donate. It's all, and of course, it feels like, the federal government under Joe Biden would find any reason they can to mess with Bobby Kennedy, right? Even now, they're hassling him over the FEC's asking questions about hiring Amaryllis on the campaign and looking into the finances there. And is it ethical to pay a family member? Blah, 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 blah. So it's like
we're all in it to win it, though. This is good.
Well, I think
it's good for the world.
I think that Bobby is going to be fine. I think that my understanding is that the fiduciary compliance is in very experienced and qualified hands, so I'm not worried about that. And but the thing is that it's kind of like the title of the room, because this is actually something that is a huge accomplishment to be on the ballot in New Hampshire, to be on the ballot in Hawaii. Because if you know what's involved, and then to replicate that across all 50 states and then all the U.S. territories and District of Columbia, this is a gargantuan task. And it's not just the money. You think 15, 20, possibly $30 million to do it. But to put an organization like that on its sea legs from scratch is just mind-boggling. But I think he's going to be able to do it.
Well, I think it speaks volumes, and I hope the FEC is listening, that even though Amaryllis Fox has no experience running a campaign, I'd say she's doing a pretty damn good job. I'd say she's earning every penny of her pay.
Absolutely, and the team is so full of so many amazing people. And there's just and the community is so large. And this is a grassroots movement. It's let's just embrace and don't fuck this up.
Well, I think there was a good foundation to begin with because, a lot of people have made it a much bigger
Indeed.
deal than it is. But the thing is, Dennis brought to the original incarnation of the campaign a wealth of wisdom, which built a good, solid cornerstone, then a foundation. And so when he passed the baton on, it was already moving in the right direction. So hopefully we will see ballot access in all 50 states and U.S. territories, and of course, D.C.
And Dennis announced that he's running too now. So it's like double up.
So I'm excited.
Awesome.
This was great. And I just wanted to say, like, I spent like 3 hours reading through the FEC records the other day, and like he got paid $265,000 for his work over 7 months. Like, could you imagine what that would cost the campaign? Like, it was really great. But I'm really glad that Amaryllis stepped up, because I think that really helps out the campaign and saving some of those funds that are going to be needed here, because I think he's going to have to do some legal work too in California, like he had to do in Utah. So everything costs money, right?
Well, an extraordinary amount of money. And the thing is this is one of the things that even Dean Phillips and Marianne Williamson have seen and experienced in the Democratic Party. But think about it like this: you're starting from scratch when you're doing what Bobby is doing, or Cornell is doing, or who else is doing a big independent campaign. I mean, it's mind-boggling just to think what has to be done. So, but I am confident that we're going to see the Kennedy name again on all 50 states ballots and U.S. territories, including D.C.
I want to bring in DJ
Could
L
you ever,
Beats.
real quick, Mike, could you ever see a lawn sign with Bobby's face on one side and yours on the other?
Well, Bobby and I have never actually met. So, I mean, I know that our families have some connections, but those connections go back,
the independence
at least 2 generations. So I've actually never met him. So I can't. I mean, that would be like an A-B conversation, which would probably never happen. But thanks for the compliment.
Well, I'm just suggesting, like, as an independent movement, like, we want to highlight all the different people that are running, and also like create awareness for Bobby, because we're like, we're going up against, like, lawn signs are expensive, like all that gear, like, required to create the awareness. But like, as a decentralized support network, a rising tide lifts all ships.
Well, I'm totally supportive of what he's doing, because I think it's the right thing for the United States. We need to break apart the duopoly. We need to rip the infrastructure as we know it from orifice to orifice. And I think he's more than willing to rip some things from orifice to orifice.
Love you. Great. And also, like, what Algo was saying earlier too was, like, we need to, like, break the two-party system. I don't even know if we need to, like, we need to break it, but it kind of just needs to dissolve. I think once, like, the attention and energy is just pulled from it, like, it loses its power. So it's like, the ask or the suggestion is just to release yourself from party constraints and declare your own independence, and say thank you to being a Democrat, thank you to being a Republican, thank you to being a Libertarian or a Green or whatever silo, and just declare independence. And because we all share so much common ground.
I don't think I would say thank you. I think I would say kiss my ass.
Well, that's you versus me, but the same sentiment.
I love it. Okay, I'm about to wrap up this space and go to bed, but I wanted to give DJ a chance to speak because he hasn't been heard yet. Hey, DJ, how you doing?
Loving the conversation. Peace to the room. Peace and love. I have more of a question than a statement. You know, people come in these spaces and act like they're goddamn.
DJ, welcome to the stage.
Hello? You hear me?
Yeah, you're good. Go ahead.
Yeah, people come in these spaces and act like they're Aristotle or something. So, you know, I think that the biggest thing is to learn. I have a question. How do you think all of this is going to end? I mean, this is kind of a question for everybody. I mean, I'm not partisan. I'm by any.
I don't hear anything.
He can't hear me at all.
Hey, Kyle, try dropping down to listener, and then I'll add you back in. Sometimes that fixes it.
Okay, yeah. So all I was asking is, I mean, you know, I'm not going to act like I'm the most politically like a political aficionado or anything, but to not be aware in this moment is a detriment to all people. And you know, you guys seem pretty smart. What the hell do you think is going to go on? It seems like I just read Biden's letter. It seems pretty draconian, and you know what do you think going into June it'll be like? Because I'll tell you, just from my purview, it seems like it's about to be a witch hunt for the guy Trump, and it's just a funny thing, man. I just want to see any of you guys prognostications for the next 6 to 8 months. Thank you.
Boy, you know, this is one year that's really difficult to predict because it's a three-way race now. For the first time in a long time, it's not just a choice of Republican or Democrat. Now we've got Kennedy in the race. He's kind of the wild card. This is going to be a crazy, crazy election year. And I want to ask Jay about that because I see Jay has his hand up too. Let me bring you into this. What do you think the next 6 to 8 months are going to look like?
Hey, that's a great question, man. Like you said, Lori, there's a lot of different ways, it could go, but what I've been seeing happen over the past few months is independent minds coming together, all trying to find common ground. And the place we've been doing that at is the Kennedy campaign. So I'm seeing people from different parts of the aisle, like on stage. We've had people from the left, from the right, from the center, all come together and talk about the solutions and stop the identity-based politics. And right now, I think Kennedy is the best embodiment of that. So I expect him to pick up momentum. And when we get to the actual elections in November, if he just picks up anywhere more than a third of the vote, we could be going to the House. So if it goes to the House and they decide it, let's see it. But I think there's a good chance we have an overwhelming movement of people actually giving the finger to the system, depending on how much momentum he picks up in the debates. So I would say keep an eye out for the debates and for all the headlines that are about to come out talking about Kennedy getting on the ballot in the next few states. And you'll see the momentum continue to pick up. So I think we could have President Kennedy this time next year, in my opinion.
I'll be honest with you, bro. I cannot see Kennedy versus Biden in the debate. It's gonna be a fucking massacre.
That would be
Like,
legendary. It'll be a
bro,
moment in American
that
history
shit'll be on
world history.
ESPN, bro.
Yo, the highlights will
God,
go on for
I
decades,
don't
man.
think, man.
So
I really don't think the Democrats, like, as far as that side, I don't think. I mean, other than I really don't see who they killed all their stars. Everybody who somebody loved, they got out of there. You know.
yeah, Bernie Sanders was the last hope, and they cheated Bernie Sanders just like they were planning on cheating RFK. So the Democratic Party is Democratic only in name. So that was said earlier in the space tonight. People are seeing that, and it's hard to fall in love with the Republican Party too, because it's a reductionist philosophy that's just less government, for every answer, no productive ideas. So just check him out, man. He's definitely coming to your state. If, like, have you listened to any long form Kennedy interviews yet?
I'll be honest with you. I watched one he did on with this. It's on a hip hop platform called Math Hoffa.
Yeah. The one he did.
It's a good one.
That was a
Good
good one.
interview.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked them, but I'll be honest with you. I've been so concerned with the border thing locally in my city in Chicago because and that's not to shame anyone, but I just really quick because I know the space has to close. I have a friend. She's a chef at O'Hare Airport. That's our big airport. That's our LaGuardia or our LAX in Chicago. And she lost her badge walking the dog. And it takes 3 weeks to, you can't work or nothing. If you don't have a TSA badge to get back to work, you can't go back there. And it was just funny to me that it's harder to get for a citizen to get a badge to go back to work than a person who could cross the border. And I'm not conservative at all, but I'll say we got some I believe Michael said we got to rip this from orifice to orifice. We got to get somebody that could really do this. And Jay, you said something very profound that I did not think of that just enlightened me, and I appreciate you for that, brother.
Hey, listen.
Most people probably are going to say, man, fuck that side and fuck that side. All you motherfuckers are crooked. That is a real possibility. And I never thought of it like that, that people would just say, fuck it. Let the vultures eat each other. Because even on the Republican end, watching that shit, that goddamn Royal Rumble fight, it's like, wow. Like, I can't expect any governance from either side at this point in a competent space. And
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
yes,
Can I jump in? I'm going to come at this like a pool player from a slightly different angle. God help the duopoly if this man and his absolutely lovely and hilarious wife are able to pull this off. Because if he, and listen carefully, very carefully to what I'm about to say, if he can go from where he is today to actually having ballot status, in other words, he's on the general election ballot in all 50 states, all U.S. territories, and the District of Columbia, the duopoly can kiss its grits, ass, whatever you want to call it, goodbye. Because what the Democrats did, which we saw evidence of tonight, and Dennis Kucinich had warned Bobby Kennedy this was going to happen. What they did is they basically said, "Oh, we're going to pretend that this is democracy," but in a half dozen states, it's already crystal clear there will be no primary of any kind in any way, shape, or form. That's not democracy. If you don't think every Republican out there saw what happened tonight and said, well, wait a second, that's ridiculous. What's happening in Florida? That's outrageous. I mean, the thing is that what Bobby did borders on genius because he basically said, I can see where this is going. And of course, Dennis had said, hey, look, they're just going to close it down. And so I pray to all the angels and saints that Bobby Kennedy actually does get on the ballot in all 50 states, U.S. territories, and the District of Columbia, because that will be the thing that will break the duopoly apart. Amen.
I got to follow that up with something she said tonight. She said that in all the swing states, Amarillo did, he's polling at 24%. So, DJ, you asked where this is going. All those swing states, she said they only need 30% to win the state. And guess what? They're swinging because they're looking for an independent. So I guarantee you every single one of those states is going to go, well, I call it white. Some people call it purple, independent, right?
Yeah, and really quick, I know you said you care about the border. If you want someone who can actually do something on the border, there's no one better than Kennedy because he's the first one to get Democrats to move on the issue. So if that's your top priority, just know no one likes working with Trump. Not Republicans, not Democrats. Kennedy is a man coming in there who's already cool with Rand Paul, who's already cool with some of the most respected people on the Democratic side, like Dennis Kucinich. So just give us some time, man. Don't forget the Kennedy name is not just a name. It comes with experience, it comes with connections, it comes with a lot of stuff. We got a good person running for office right now. But
So Jay, let me ask you this: how do you think that the Trump movie is going to end?
Well, yo, let me ask you this. This is the question I've been dying to ask you, DJL Beats. And that's why I came on the stage. Is how it ends is what I think is going to be with a debate. Now I want to know what you think. What's a debate versus Kennedy and Trump look like? Because you already know he's going to mop up Biden. But what's it really look like if he was going to debate Trump? Is it going to be
I
Trump
think
just? Is it going to?
Kennedy speaks so well though. So Trump know everybody know his debate style. So I think I'll be honest with you. I think Donald Trump, man. Uh, I don't know. I think that people we're in a culture that likes the fucking shock value. So that's what he's preying upon. And I think that, we love the clips that we could put on Instagram, TikTok, X, and then have these rooms. I think he'll play into that. But in real life, I don't think people give a fuck about that when their lives are on the line. It's like,
Yeah,
like,
think about it like this. The topic is um, the housing crisis. How do you solve for the housing crisis, Mr. Kennedy? Mr. Kennedy says, I actually have a plan. I've been campaigning that plan for the past 18 months. This is on how I would do it if you haven't got a chance to listen to that plan yet. Boom, 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 boom. Here are our points. Now, how do you think Trump is going to respond to that? Mr. Billionaire Real Estate Mogul, how are you going to solve for the housing crisis?
I'm pretty sure he'll come up with some. When you've been on TV 30 years, you say, man, I'll figure something. But ultimately, I think that that's kind of wearing thin on people. Like, it was kind of
Wait,
crazy
wait,
because
wait. Do you know what do you know what his plan to solve for the housing crisis is? Does anybody
no,
in here know?
no, I don't.
So nobody in
I
here
do.
even knows what his plan is to solve
I
for the
do.
housing
I mean,
crisis.
maybe you should educate
I
us.
do.
I
I
do.
don't
Well,
know
I,
what his
I know
plan
what he
is.
wants to do about the homeless
No, no,
crisis.
no. The housing crisis, making it
I,
affordable homes for
Lori,
people who
Lori, and I,
are
Lori,
ages 25 to 35.
You're
Lori, do
right,
you
though.
want?
Housing is a big problem, especially in my community.
I'm not talking
Uh,
about the homeless problem. I'm talking about,
no, no, I said housing. I said housing.
you get it. Yeah, you get it. But I'm not talking about housing. I'm not talking about homelessness. I'm talking about housing.
That's what we was talking about. What we're saying is housing right now, affordable housing for millennials and Gen Z it's terrible right now. People can't even afford to rent right now, especially in Chicago where I'm from. And we do need a man. I'm so glad you said we do need a comprehensive plan on affordable housing, man. Because like right now, I'm seeing 30-year-olds live back with their mom because they just can't afford it. And the criteria that landlords are asking for is ridiculous. They asking some of these kids for 12 times the rent. Like it's just like you in a
Yeah,
bet in
and the
a
houses aren't even nice. Like,
yeah, and these places
like
look terrible.
these places
You
are
know,
terrible. This is the corporate prison cells.
man, it just feels like the whole Japan owns my hood. Like it feel like Japan own my whole neighborhood.
Yo, not to mention that China is giving people from China, they're giving them loans to come over here, and it's 0% interest rate. So you can come over here from another country, buy a home with a loan that you get from the country you came from, and never have to pay interest on it.
America for sale, baby. We know for right now. We know that. You know.
So may I do a unsolicited plug? So if you go to teamkennedy.com, is that correct? I think it's teamkennedy.com. Kennedy24.com. Is that
The
correct?
official website.
Kennedy24.com.
The official website is
Oh.
Kennedy24.com.
Okay, thank you for the correction. So the thing is that he's got a series of videos, and the site does change often. So check it out every few days or a week or two. But you'll see a series of videos, and he goes through each of the issues. But he does have a plan in regards to housing, right, Lori?
Yeah, I know what his plan is. I want to know what Trump's plan is.
Well, he doesn't have one.
That's my case. That's my point. I think that in a debate versus Trump, it's going to be really embarrassing. It's going to be really embarrassing for Team
Has he
Trump.
showed up
The
to
thing
any of
is,
the
Trump
debates
is
at
Trump
this
is going
point?
to Trump is going to get schooled by Bobby
No, he
before
didn't.
the debate.
If he ever even shows, Sherry's got a good point. He's probably just not even going to show up.
If he does, yeah, he actually set that precedent now. The guys won't even show up.
Like, how disrespectful to the American people. Like, that's our view into
It's
what
not
they
worth
want to do.
debating, and Joe Biden doesn't want to debate either. The Uniparty does not want to debate. That's why it's so critical that we have Kennedy here and we build a big, beautiful movement. Because no.
Wouldn't it be something if in the fall, when we get into September, I believe the first debate is actually near Austin there at Southwest Texas State University in San Marcos, Texas. Wouldn't it be something if Bobby qualified for the debate, and it certainly looks like he will, and then Biden and Trump won't debate him? It would not surprise me, guys, if they just refused to show up, or if
just won't
everybody
even
got,
show up.
if they got COVID at the last
I think
minute or
you're
some
right about
excuse.
that. I think
I
you're
swear.
100%. I think you're 100% right about the no-show kind of mentality. And but again, and I've said this many times, many different ways. But it's going to boil down to
Just get on all the ballots. You get on all the ballots. That's it.
Because the thing is that if he can do this, and I believe he can. Because once you get the process started, then the game becomes how do you contest? How do you challenge? So the uniparty, as somebody just said, which is wonderful, or the duopoly, or the corporatocracy, whatever you want to call it, they are going to begin challenging and contesting the ballot access. I promise you. Within a few days, you're going to hear of the DNC or the RNC, challenging the New Hampshire or the Hawaii ballots or the Utah ballots. And so the thing is having the ability and the legal resources, which obviously Bobby has more than adequate resources in-house and within his own family to deal with, is to keep, once you get on the ballot, to stay on the ballot, if that makes sense.
Yep. And that's fortunately the campaign does have I feel like you got a terrific grasp on this, and it's organized.
You know what's funny is I've spoken with real estate moguls, okay, guys that are in charge of millions of dollars. One, he is named Jonathan Bing. He's a huge spaces and rooms holder on both.
Oh, I love Jonathan. You know him? That's great.
Yeah.
What a guy.
Wow. Yeah. What a truly fascinating guy. I mean, he is a huge Democrat. And I talked to him in one of his rooms on Clubhouse, and the amount of disrespect he treated me with was embarrassing to him. I mean, I just kind of gave him enough rope to hang himself in front of everyone, like it was, the 1800s.
Jonathan's mouth gets him in trouble every single day. That boy and his mouth.
He called me retarded. He called me stupid. And do you want to know why? Because I work with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I said to Jonathan Bing, I said to Jonathan Bing, I said, Jonathan, he said, Robert F. Kennedy is retarded. I said, Jonathan, let me ask you something. You're a millionaire. You're a real estate mogul. You're a huge Joe Biden supporter and advocate that has been going in front of thousands and thousands and thousands of people online advocating for your candidate, Joe Biden. So tell me, Joe, what is Joe Biden's plan to solve for the real estate crisis, for this housing crisis? You're a real estate mogul, right? Well, you tell me, what's his plan? I'm sure you would know, the real estate mogul, know what the housing crisis plan is, right, for Mr. Joe Biden.
Well done.
And everybody in the room's ears perked up, waiting for him to say what the plan is. There is no plan.
That's right.
Oh, we said it at the same time. I love it. That's right.
That's it.
Yeah, great minds thinking alike. You know, look, I love this Lady Gaga line, and I know that many of you are going to know exactly what I'm going to say. You know, when people start getting abusive and nasty, nasty and ugly in these Twitter spaces or Clubhouse or any other social media, just remember what Lady Gaga says, that social media is the toilet of the internet.
Wow, I didn't know that Jonathan Bing was so anti-Kennedy. I knew he was pro-Biden, he was pro-mask and lockdown and pro-vaccine, and was very insulting and harsh to anyone who didn't want to get vaccinated. I remember all of that, but I didn't know that he was so vehemently anti-Kennedy.
I convinced a room, his room, of 500 people to look at him in a completely different light, and realizing everything that comes out of this man's mouth, he's got no idea on what he's talking about. I mean, I was able to then, and then the other individual, Nelson Opega, who's a Trump supporter, another millionaire, another real estate mogul. I said to him, thanks for letting me have the stage. Here's what Mr. Kennedy's plan is to solve for the housing crisis. If you guys like this plan, then support Mr. Kennedy. And I gave him the outline of the plan that he has mentioned on numerous podcasts, such as the Charlemagne the God Show, the world famous Breakfast Club. And I gave him the same outline that you can see there, and you can find it on his Instagram, a clip from that episode, and listen to that. But and listen to the plan coming from himself. But it's basically like this. I said to Nelson, well, what's Trump's plan? Trump is a bigger real estate mogul than both of you guys put together. What's the plan, guys? And Nelson couldn't provide me. Nelson didn't disrespect me, but he admittedly said, I don't know if there is one.
Well, there isn't, but Bobby does, and forgive me for saying this, but what happened for me is that I kind of had a heads up that Bobby was going to run. And so I did a lot of research and spent quite a few hours. Then I started talking to my peeps, my homeboys and homegirls about this. And a couple of them said, well, blah, 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 and tried to warp or twist Bobby's point of view into a soundbite. I said, it just doesn't work that way with this guy. He's not a soundbite.